The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast belong solely to the authors and not necessarily to the author's employer, organization, committee, or other group or individual. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. My name's Irvin,
Yes, and I'm Eljo.
and welcome to the number one music podcast in the country. This is Mind the Beats. Kamusta
Yes.
kayo mga kaibigan? I hope you guys are having an awesome day, afternoon, evening, kung anong oras nyo pinapakinggan to sa Spotify, sa Anchor, sa Google, or pinapanood sa YouTube. So again, thank you so much din sa lahat pala ng mga nakinig dun sa last episode namin, which is yung music theory. So I appreciate lahat ng mga
Yes.
nag-comments, mga nakinig, nag-like,
Mm,
nag-express ng opinion nila about music theory, which is a good thing. Review lang natin ng onte, music theory is, do we really need music theory? Yes, and yes, actually, yung pinaka-answer doon. So at some point, we're already learning music theory without us knowing that it's already music theory.
mm.
But with that being said, this is a new day, a new topic. This is somewhat, kumbaga parang medyo medyo sensitive sa marami because we're gonna be talking about music, politics, and
Mm.
culture. So,
Lalo sa panahon ngayon, no?
oo, kasi marami ng, eh na nga, nagsisimula na yung mga kampanya. I'm
Yes.
not really sure kung allowed na ba dapat ngayon. Kasi marami nang napapanood na commercial ng mga nangangampanya, di ba? Parang,
Mm-mm.
I think it's already okay na mag-promote na kasi 2022 naman yung election and it's
Mm.
really near. And until October 30 yung registration for vote. So make sure na kung kayo man or ikaw man ay hindi pa registered, please register it. It
Mm.
always makes a difference kung makakaboto kayo o hindi.
Check nyo rin kung makakaboto kayo.
Yun din, check nyo rin. Kasi
Kahit
nangyari,
ikaw, hindi ka nakaboto.
oh, last time di ako nakaboto. Wala yung pangalan ko dun sa ano. Sabi ko, ba't ka no? Nakaregister naman ako. Well, anyways, it's actually a very sensitive topic kasi again nga, music, politics, and culture.
Yes.
A lot of artists nowadays are very open to who they're voting and kung sino man yung pinopromote nila. And some of us, are kind of parang na nababad trip at some point for doing that kasi as far as we're concerned, we just need to stick with the music itself. Minsan naman hindi tayo pabor dun sa mga pinopromote nila.
Yes.
Minsan naman talaga wala lang talaga tayong pakialam sa kung ano yung pinopromote nila and we're just in for the music, which is kumbaga divided eh. Napaka-divided nung attention natin when it comes to musicians endorsing their bet, kumbaga parang yung political bet nila. But but music, politics, and culture are always intertwined with one another, even way before. I mean, we have Rage Against the Machine. We have a couple of bands that are very political. I believe Bob Marley is one of them as well,
Yes.
if I'm not
Tupac
mistaken.
Shakur.
Yan, si Tupac Shakur. A lot of artists are very
Mm.
open to their belief, and at the same time, yung parang pinaglalaban nila when it
Yes.
comes to politics. Again, politics has its own definition. Same thing with music. Kumbaga, iba-iba ng definition yun eh. Actually, upon checking Mariam, I'm not really sure if it's Mariam or Miriam or whatever that is. Politics is, okay, hold on, nawala yung Mariam ko. Okay, so let me just define real quick what is politics, kasi it has a couple of definition depending on how we use it. So in the collegiate definition, it's the art of science or science of government, a political action, practices, or policies. It's a political affair or business, and the political opinion or sympathies of a person. Kumbaga, it's very wide. At some point, na marami siyang definition on how we use it in our day-to-day lives. Same thing with music. I think we don't really need Mariam to define music because music is basically like kumbaga parang everything that we hear from the moment we wake up until we go to sleep, music is always there.
Universal siya, no?
Universal, and it has a couple of definition again. Same
Yes.
thing. Kumbaga kung kailangan natin ng textbook definition, we can use Mariam or any dictionaries available to check out the true definition. But
Yes.
definition in politics and culture has its own definition, but it is always intertwined with one another. Again, yun nga, the relationship between music and politics has existed for centuries, even way before. Like
Yeah.
music and politics is always part of the culture that we grew up with, kumbaga. And sometimes it's harmonious, sometimes it's not as much. You know, the relationship between culture and music can always be simplified. Yung culture kasi is tinutulungan ma-ensure yung survival of the humanity itself. So it's very broad and very wide definition. And then at the same time, music helps towards people na magbring closer together. Kumbaga, music brings people together, and then culture ensures people's survival. Kumbaga, we have our own different culture. Like here in the Philippines, we have our own culture. In US, they have their own culture. But kumbaga parang yung main root here is music helps bring people together in that specific culture. So, music is a product of the culture. Kumbaga, bakit naman natin nasabi na music is a product of the culture? It teaches us about language. We're actually going to give you just 3 reasons why we think music is a product of the culture. So number 1, it teaches us about language. When we were young, some of the first communication we give and receive in life is actually through music. 'Di ba? Nung pinanganak ka, or if you have a baby, or if you're kumbaga, if you ask your mother and your father, the first thing na ginagawa nila is not really sing, but to hum you to sleep. 'Di ba? As a parent, that is somehow like
Yes.
unintentional eh.
Par
Pero
Parang
part yun
common
eh.
thing na talaga na
Oo.
ginagawa.
Ginagawa ng mga parents natin.
Mm.
And then at the same time, singing is actually such an important part of learning language. 'Di ba? In introducing ABs, the alphabet to our kids, we use it by the means of singing. Kasi we
Yeah.
want to drive the kid, yung attention niya dun sa ituturo mo sa kanya, and how you do that is to sing, kasi it's much more convenient and much more easier to understand, diba?
Minsan
And
pa nga Mozart yung ano 'no, yung mga
oh,
hinaham nung mga parents natin, eh.
oo,
Pa
minsan paiba-iba lang pero it's the same thing. It's the
mm.
alphabet. That is an integral part of learning music. And then music
Yes.
provides an entertainment form of repetition that is conducive to a memory, and at the same time it's a key part of growing out cultural identity, diba?
Yeah.
When we were kids, when we were in elementary, what is the first thing that we hear in the morning? Our national anthem,
Yes.
which is in 4/4. So that is like a part of growing our cultural identity. Na we know that when we hear a certain folk song, Filipino folk song, if it's not in 4/4, it will always be in 6/8. Diba? Kasi, as you guys know, I'm not really sure if you know this, like Joey Ayala actually tried to recreate the Lupang Hinirang in a 6/8 form or a 6/8 signature, just to mimic yung parabang culture natin na mahilig tayo mag-sway. Mahilig tayo dun sa mga 6/8 na signature or bilang into performing, 'di ba? Or kumbaga parang yung mga makabayan moments natin is always in the 6/8 time signature. And then I'm not really sure, it's kind of weird that the national anthem is in 4/4. But it's fine. It's not our problem. It will always be there. Just going back, as every morning we hear the national anthem in 4/4, which is a big part of our cultural identity. It
Yes.
actually teaches us that we are Filipinos. This is our national anthem, and this is how we should be living. I mean, kung bibigyan natin ng onting say lang dun sa national anthem, medyo may mga onti lang kaming hindi sang-ayon doon, yung katulad ng "Ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo," which is "I don't wanna die." 'Di ba? It's very crucial to say na ang mamatay ng dahil sa iyo. I don't want that. I
Masyadong
mean,
deep, 'no?
masyadong
Na
deep. I just want to sing. I just want to, kumbaga, pwede namang ang sumayaw ng dahil sa iyo, ang kumanta ng dahil sa iyo, o magpayaman ng dahil sa iyo, 'di ba?
pero siguro dahil siguro sa ano 'yan, yung parang yung era nung na-create yung song is talagang
Nasa war kasi tayo
grabe.
nun eh.
Oo,
Oo.
nasa war talaga.
Oo.
So, actually, it's a good thing pa rin naman. But siyempre yung sa new era natin, that's why si Joey Ella, he wants to correct some things na dapat mas maging maayos, 'di ba? Kaya
Mm.
parang gusto niya ipilit ng 6/8 kasi may mga words na it's hard to anong tawag dito, parang i-pronounce pagka masyadong yung hindi tugma yung time signature, 'di ba?
Mm.
Kasi parang ang nangyayari utal-utal daw.
Oo, tsaka hindi mo magets yung parang pinaka-gist ng song eh. Kasi minsan
Oo,
iba yung words na sinasabi mo.
oo. Kasi 'di ba parang isang example niya yung dagatat. Ano
Oo.
yun, 'di ba? Ano yung
Ang
dagatat?
dagatatat. Kalimutan ko pa ibang mga ano eh. Parang yung isa eh, dagatat. Like what is that? Like it's a 4/4 setting. We don't really,
Mm,
it's not really the topic, but you just want to put some light on that current
yes.
situation. Like for us Filipinos, we're used to listening to 6/8. Like most of our folk songs are in 6/8. Ang
Yeah.
bayan kong Pilipinas, that is in 6/8. Kumbaga, that is what that is our culture. That is part of us growing up. Now,
Mm,
another point why we think music is a product of the culture, it's actually how we celebrate. Like every
yeah.
time you go to a birthday party, or pagdating mo ng 7 years old, and 18 years
Mm,
old, or 21 years old, um, tied up yan with music eh. Diba? Diba may mga songs na like si Britney Spears, not a girl, not yet a woman. I'm not really sure if that's a title, pero it defines the moments in our lives. Meaning that in every situation, music is always there. Even in the sad parts, like
yes.
kung may namatayan man tayo, or na broken hearted man tayo, music is always tied to that.
Yeah.
Kumbaga, the main gist of this is that a party without music isn't a party at all.
Mm,
Diba? And music and happiness go hand in hand all over the world. I mean, this is something na hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas na experience, kundi even in different parts of the world. In every celebration, there's always music. That's why music is a product of the culture. And then the last option that we want to put out on the music is a product of a culture point is it's a necessary part of our routine. There isn't really much that we do without music, and it's honestly just become so intertwined with our lives that silence is a rarity. Kumbaga, from the moment we wake up until we go to sleep, music is always there.
mm.
Every time we do our dishes in the gym, kumbaga, kung nasa bus ka man, nasa sakyan na, nando ka man sa kotse mo, while working, while studying, while cooking, everything na pwede mong gawin, music is always there. Kumbaga, parang music is an additional point in creating harmonious lives with one another.
Parang
'Diba?
mahirap kasi na ano 'no, pagka in total silent. Kasi minsan, dumadating talaga sa time na tayo gusto natin ng tahimik. But ang hirap, mahirap yung part na yung sobrang tahimik. Kasi parang ang initial reaction ng body mo pagka gano'n, ano, eh, puwede maghaham ka, 'di ba?
Mm,
Pero in in al in low volume lang, 'di ba? Kumbaga yung music kasi naka-stick na sa katawan natin 'yan, eh,
mm.
naka-stick sa pagkatao ng ano 'yan, ng bawat isa, eh. Kaya yung kung gusto mo ng total silent napakahirap nun and
Oo,
then
kumbaga para 'di ba meron ngang isang study na may ginawa sa America, I think, na parang
mm.
the most silent room
Yes,
ever.
oo yung pinapasok dun kung sino yung
Oo. Sino yung kayang
pinakatatagal.
tumagal dun sa room na yun with no sound at all?
Oo,
I'm not really
grabe.
sure kung ilang minutes merong man nagtagal dun, pero hindi nila kayang tumagal ng
I
almost
think meron
15,
dun
30 minutes.
props dun sa ano,
Sa s
pinilit.
Oo,
Yung sa parang I think naka 1 hour ata siya,
grabe yun, sobrang
gano'n, 'di ba?
wala kang marinig na
Kasi
kahit ano.
kasi yung structure kasi nung room is talagang yung absorb ng bawat ano, ng bawat tunog i-a-absorb niya. Kumbaga talagang soundproof talaga siya. Kaya nga 'di ba yung isang study dun, yung habang nandun siya sa sobrang tahimik naririnig niya na yung tibok ng puso niya, naririnig na yung parang I think
Parang nagha-hallucinate
hindi
na
ko
siya at some
oo,
point.
hindi ko sure parang yung isa, ah, parang yung nakikita niya na yung blood flow niya, yung mga gano'n, 'di ba? Parang sobrang rare na mangyayari sa'tin yun, pero 'pag dun siguro pumasok ka 'no, sa
Oo.
sobrang tahimik lahat na ng
Kumbaga yung mental areas mo sa buhay
mm,
maaatake kasi nga
oo,
you're in a very silent room with nothing to listen to. Like kahit ngayon nagre-record kami, yung tunog pa lang ng electric fan natin or yung
mm.
bawat
Rinig ba
galaw
yung akin?
natin. Hindi naman, sa'kin hindi naman,
Baka mo
eh.
example.
Hindi, sa'kin kunyari sa'kin nandito tabi ko yung electric fan ko.
Ayan,
You can hear it and it's a form of music in a way. Not really
oo.
melodical but it's something that can give us conscience in a way, 'di ba?
Yes. Kaya nga 'di ba yung sa kahit sa ano, kahit sa mga mental hospitals, 'di ba?
Oo.
May mga ano sila, may mga tawag dito, may music therapy sila, 'di ba?
Mm,
Kasi maraming maraming help talaga ang music sa buhay ng tao. Kasi ayun nga 'di ba yung example namin kanina na 'pag nandun ka sa in total silent, pati yung mental health mo affected, eh, 'di
mm,
ba? That's why yung music talaga nag nagbibigay sa'tin ng ano, eh, minsan positive,
mm.
kung gusto nating ma-down, may mga songs na puwede kang i-down lalo, mga gano'n, 'di ba? Kumbaga ala maraming areas ng buhay natin na nagagamit talaga yung music, eh, 'di
Yeah,
ba?
yeah. Like it's very important that it's not really important. It's a way of life.
Yes,
Regardless if we want music or not. I mean, I don't know anyone that doesn't like music.
yes.
Yun nga yung ano
Unang-unang
rin, eh.
panahon pa lang
Oo.
may music na, 'di
Even
ba?
in the early 50s, 60s, 70s,
Yes,
music is there and at the same time politics and culture is always intertwined with one
mm,
another, even way before. Even with the Beatles, they have a couple of songs na medyo political at some point. We have the
yes,
Green Day, we have Rage Against the Machine. Here in the Philippines, I think Nick the License is one of them.
yeah,
Francis M. Kaleidoscope World talks about peace.
mm,
Born This Way by Lady Gaga talks about equality and putting emphasis on the LGBTQI community. And
yeah,
then another one is Where's the Love by Black Eyed Peas that talks about racism and peace as well. And then Imagine by John Lennon, like way back the 80s, 90s, 80s, 70s. Imagine by the one and only John Lennon talks about peace and give peace a
mm.
chance with the
Yung
Plastic
favorite
Ono
natin,
Band. Ano yun?
favorite ni Tatang, Kamusta Pilipinas,
Ayun,
'di
ikaw
ba?
sa Pilipinas by ano ba yun? Ipots ba yun? Nakalimutan ko
Ah,
pangalan nila.
On the Spot,
On the Spot talks about
oo,
police brutality, di
yeah.
ba?
Yung kay Shanty Dope, kalimutan ko. Ay kay ano pala yun, kay Glock 9,
Kay
yung
Glock 9,
Upuan,
yung upuan
'di
that
ba?
talks about the government itself.
Yeah,
You know, music. and politics is always intertwined with one another, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Kahit sabihin natin na dapat mag-stick na lang to sa music. I mean, ako mismo, I'm a big believer before that you should leave the politics to politician and then music into musicians. Kasi I believe before na dapat hiwalay yan. Kasi we artists are models at some point. We need to be kumbaga parang in a positive outlook in life.
Yeah.
Pero hindi natin maiiwasan yun eh. Especially with protest music. Like a lot of bands before, even yung mga nasa 90s, 80s, and even now, maraming mga banda yung mahilig magprotesta with what is happening with the government. Which is not really a new thing.
Yeah.
It's always been around for how many years na. We have Rage Against the Machine, Green Day. Green Day, American Idiot talks about Bush itself. How idiot America is. Diba? That's a protest. It's a protest against the government itself. And it's widely accepted. Why? Because music is always a form of language. And what is language, diba? Language is something that we need to express in our own way. And by doing that, we are opening our eyes and ears to the dark truth of life, which is politics. I mean, it has a lot of definition, but when we talk about politics, kasi it always connects with the government, diba? Regardless if we want it or not.
Ang
And
nakakatawa lang dito, no? Parang every time na may sumisikat na ganyan about politics, may isang malalang nangyayari. For
mm,
example, yung sa American Idiot, di ba?
mm.
Parang ang nangyayari, nagpo-fuel talaga sa musicians yung ganun eh, no? Yung
And
na,
nakapag-fuel din sa tao. Like if
mm,
they have the same opinion with the artist, they will bow down to that artist kasi kumbaga yung point na this guy, this writer, this band understands my point.
yeah,
Diba? You can understand what I'm fighting for. And music has always been fighting for equality for how many years now? Ever
yes,
since ever since na nalaman natin at naintindihan natin that music is a way of protest and a way for us to communicate. Ginagamit na natin yan regardless if we want it or not. Kaya I highly doubt it sa mga tao, especially with government officials, that saying that you don't have the right to say this because you're just a musician
yeah.
or an artist, which is very wrong. Lahat ng artist needs to voice out their opinion. That's number one.
Parang naiipit yung ano, no? Parang in that point, parang naiipit yung freedom of speech,
Oo.
di ba? Kasi yung sa mga nagrarally nga, di ba?
They
Tapos
use.
pagdating sa music, di ba? Parang parang ano yun, may exception na
Oo. 'Di
di ba?
ba? Parang ang corny naman nun. I mean, here's the thing. You don't have to agree with the same politics.
Yeah.
This is still in the music era, but this is somehow like our understanding with politics, culture, and music. You don't have to agree with politics, but you can try and understand.
Yes.
One artist that I will be name dropping here is Bullet Tumas. Bullet has been an opposition ever since nagsimula si Duterte. I follow his page and he's very open and very communicative with how he hates the government and how he hates the president, our president Duterte, which is okay. Honestly, before I'm very pissed kasi mas marami pa yung political post niya kaysa dun sa mga lumalabas niya songs. Parang sabi ko, ang dami naman lumalabas na itong political opinions pero wala naman masyadong lumalabas na songs na bagong record or kumbaga parang performance na lang para man lang makatulong sa lahat ng mga naka-quarantine or lahat tayo naka-quarantine at that time. Pero I understood his opinion. I understand what he's fighting for. Kasi he has his own understanding. He has his own reasons why he do that. Same thing with recently, itong River Maya. River Maya posted something a couple of weeks, or I'm not really sure, days or weeks ago. Um, they're promoting Lenny Robredo. Diba? It's kind of, you know, it's kind of hypocritical if you don't have the understanding of politics and culture.
Mm.
Kasi kung sasabihin mo lang kasi diyan, musician lang naman kayo. What makes sense? 'Di ba? You're just a musician that has a couple of followers or a big following, and you're promoting a government official, 'di ba? Which is kind of ironic, but in the same way, they have their own reasons.
Yes.
If we don't agree with them, we're always welcome to voice out our opinions, but we at least try to understand them first.
And syempre ano, don't think na walang epekto 'yun, may yung effect nung song sa mga politicians or sa government, talagang ano 'yan, bumabaon 'yan.
Mm.
One ex Best example 'yan yung nangyari sa'min, 'di ba? Parang tinugtog namin yung Kamusta Pilipinas, and then one of the guests ng bar is a police, 'di ba? And then
Naalala ko yan.
after the set, kinonfront niya kami, 'di ba? Na bakit gano'n? Bakit ganyan yung sinasabi niyo? May problema ba kayo sa'min? And then hindi kami makapag-argue, 'di ba? Well, si Tatang matibay talaga 'yon, lasing o hindi papatulan nun, eh,
Oo.
'di ba? Kumbaga, the only thing na sinabi ni Tatang nun na sabi niya, "Sir, wala po kaming pinapatamaan. Kung tinatamaan kayo, hindi po namin kasalanan 'yun, kumakanta
Mm.
lang kami," 'di ba? It's a big thing for them, lalo na 'pag naririnig nila 'yun. 'Di ba nga yung sa mga ano, yung about lang sa parang yung kay Shanty Dope, 'di
Mm.
ba, napedeya pa nga 'yun, eh, 'di ba?
That's how powerful music
Yes,
is.
ang laki
Kumbaga,
nung impact ng music, grabe. Kaya
sobra.
yung sa mga eto example natin, yung pinagkamay ni Bob Marley ang puti at itim, 'di ba?
Sa isang
It's a good thing.
peace rally concert niya.
Yes, magpapa kung hindi dahil kay Bob Marley, kung wala siya dun, magpapatayan yung dalawang yun, 'di ba? Kumbaga ano na sila, magkakaharap na sila, eh, eto na, eh.
Oo.
Kumbaga dahil dun sa ginawang, peace rally ni Bob Marley, ang laki ng impact na nangyari,
Pero
pinagbago niya.
he doesn't really want politics in the
Yeah,
first place. Kumbaga, we always have our own drive to politics and how we understand it.
yes.
'Di ba? Maraming mga artists na into this politician, maraming artists na tahimik lang and doesn't really care about politics, which is kind of, medyo alanganin just for me. This is my opinion. If you are not conveying truth about what is happening in the country, and you're not voicing your opinion, it's somehow like hypocritical in a way.
Yeah,
Kasi ikaw dapat as a musician, you should be the first one to understand what is happening with the country. Kasi you have a voice. That's why maraming musicians, especially in the US, nung si Biden and si Trump na election, is
mm,
promoting Biden. Why? Because they have a voice. They have a reason to say something na talagang makaka-affect ng mabigat dun sa ipo-promote nilang artist or promote nilang politician. Kasi it can change how their country works. 'Di ba? They understand what happened with the Trump era. Kaya ang pinopromote nila is si Biden. At the same time, they don't really have a choice kasi dalawa lang 'yon. Kumbaga, who is the better man in both? E di si Biden na lang, 'di ba? Same thing with here in the Philippines. Actually, a couple of days ago, I think, or a couple of weeks ago, Epic Kizon turned down a 30 million offer. Refuses a 30 million offer from a politician to buy his advocacy song. Kumbaga parang I admire that kasi It's already 30 million, man. And he refuses it kasi he doesn't want, kumbaga, at some point siguro, I don't really know what, kung bakit niya tinurn down yung 30 million na yon. Probably he doesn't really like the opposing, the one that is buying the song, or meron siyang, or hindi talaga siya in favor dun sa politician yun, or whatever. Pero it's a good thing. At least he is already voicing his opinion out. That you
Nag-stand
cannot,
talaga siya, no?
nag-stand talaga siya dun sa point na no one can buy my song, and this song is for the Filipinos only, for them to see what is happening in the world, and or in the country, and for us to have an open mind to what's gonna happen in the Philippines, diba?
Add ko lang, kasi kasi may mga ano yun, minsan kasi merong mga hidden agenda yan, eh. For example, 'pag gusto nila bilhin yung kanta mo, minsan kasi ida-drop nila yan, eh.
Mm,
Papawalain yan, eh, 'di ba? Kumbaga masyadong masaklap 'tong kanta mo, sige bilhin ko, and then hindi na magagamit. Puwedeng
mm,
gano'n, eh. Kumbaga
pwede.
may mga may mga hidden agenda kasi minsan,
May
eh,
mga
or
reasons, kumbaga.
yes, kaya minsan gusto talaga nila gamitin for themselves, 'di ba?
Mm,
Na maganda 'to, masyadong catchy 'to, and then yung reputation ko puwedeng mabitbit nito,
mm,
'di ba?
pwede. I mean, it always has its own reasons. Kaya,
Yeah,
as early as now, if you are a musician and you think na yung pinaglalaban mo or yung pinopromote mo is someone na alam mong makakaangat sa bansa, go ahead, promote it. You are not, kumbaga sa voters registration, every vote counts. Even as an artist, every promotion that you do counts.
yeah.
I think we Filipinos just need to understand that we always have a different opinion with one another, and we should respect that, regardless if it's a different opinion. Kasi I heard a lot of people and know a lot of people na pag hindi tayo magkapareho ng iboboto or
Yari
pareho
ka,
ng pinaglalaban, hindi tayo, pwede na tayo pwede FO na, kumbaga friend over na, or ano pa tawag doon, parang ganon, parang
balikan
friendship
na ng
over.
kandila.
Oh, friendship over na. Balikan na tayo ng kandila, 'di ba? We Filipinos, I know it's very sensitive at some point kasi we're talking about politics here. And alam natin na dapat hindi na tayo nakikialam sa politics, but we as podcasters, as teachers, and as musicians need to voice out our opinion too. I
Pero wala
mean,
kaming po-promote na kandidato
oo,
dito.
kasi wala pa rin naman kami naiisip kasi we're waiting
Depende na
for,
lang,
ano, no, kumbaga, we're waiting for the
nangangailangan din
debate.
kami.
Pero hindi ako ano, bahala kayo dyan. Hindi, I mean, kasi sa akin kasi,
Road yun, road.
as a means of being a musician and a teacher, I'm waiting for the debate,
Yeah.
'di ba? Before tayo, I mean, it always depends on you. It always depends on the person. If you want to understand that the specific person that you're voting, you should watch the debate para mas magkaroon ka ng reason kung sino yung iboboto mo.
And siyempre research din kayo. 'Wag
Oo,
kayong aasa sa social media.
wag kayong umasa sa TikTok o kaya sa
Mm,
sa Facebook na ganito yung nagawa ni ganyan, ganito yung ginawa ni
mm,
ganyan. Mas lalo dun sa mga influencers.
yeah.
Kasi influencers influence people. Musicians influence people. Your decision should influence you and not anyone else. Kung sa tingin mo yung idol mo, ito yung binoboto, pero medyo alanganin ka, that's fine. Diba? We need to understand that we're fighting for the same reason. We're fighting for
Yes.
the same point na mas maging maganda ang Pilipinas. And by means of that, kailangan at the end of the day, after this election, we're still friends. Kasi yun yung nangyayari minsan eh. If that
Malala ka
opposing
na, 'no,
oh
pagka
if the
binenta mo
opposing
yun.
if the opposing person, kumpare kaibigan mo, tapos hindi siya pareho ng iboboto mo, tapos mangyayari niyan friendship over na, 'di ba?
Mm.
It's not something that worthy to do.
Yes.
Pero
Kaya nga 'di
again,
ba parang may mga friends kami na ito, share ko lang. May mga friends tayo na talagang
hardcore.
when we talk about minsan when we talk about politics, tumatahimik and then ang segue na lang. Wag natin pag-usapan 'yan kasi magkaiba tayo ng point of view, eh.
Oo.
Kumbaga, wag natin sirain yung pagkakaibigan natin. Parang
Palaging
ayun din,
gano'n,
eh,
eh.
'di ba?
Oo, gano'n 'yun, eh, gano'n 'yun, eh. I mean, it should always be about respecting one another. Kumbaga,
Yes.
mahirap the politics
Mm.
is very kumbaga very huge or big
Nagiging debate
topic.
'yan, eh.
Debate 'yan, eh. But as musicians, we should be very careful on what we're gonna be influencing and
Yeah.
how we influence people. I mean, it's fine if you're Bullet Dumas and you're promoting a different politician. That's fine. That's
Pero
on you.
dapat mag-stand ka sa point mo.
Oo.
Kasi kung ano, bigla kang sasalisi, ay, ikaw ang may mali, 'di
Oo,
ba?
parang nangyari kay kay Chito Miranda last elections. Pinopromote niya dati si Duterte. Tapos at the last minute bigla siya nag-Miriam Defensor Santiago,
Mm.
'di ba? Parang it doesn't make sense if you don't have the understanding of politics, music and culture. Pero it will make sense if you have that understanding.
Yeah.
Kumbaga, in short, kumbaga kaya natin tapusin to in 5 minutes eh. Mag-research ka lang. Yung pinaka-importante doon. Especially with this upcoming elections, a lot of politicians are already saying that they're gonna be running for president, for vice president. So you should be very careful on who to vote. I mean,
Yeah.
that's actually our culture as Filipinos. We tend
Mm.
to vote for the wrong person almost every time. I mean, what do you mean by voting the wrong person? At the end of the day, kahit anong sabihin natin, it will always have a negative effect to anyone. Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Ninoy Aquino, or Noynoy Aquino, to the point na may mga nasasabi pa rin yung tao eh. 'Di ba?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, at the end of the day, we still keep on voting for the wrong person kasi on our own definition, it's, after a few years, it's wrong na. Mali na yung nangyayari. So, we need to stand sa kung sino man yung binoboto natin. And we need to be, at some point, at ease with the decision that we're gonna be doing.
So kung pipilit talaga nila, panindigan mo na lang,
Ah,
'di ba? Kaya kung talagang mali ka, 'di sorry.
mm,
Sabi nga ni Gloria, eh, 'di ba?
I'm sorry. Kumbaga, this episode is just a way for us to show you guys that musicians are capable of expressing our own opinion.
Mm.
Artists can be influenced, and you can be influenced by artists. And you need to have an understanding on why are we doing this in the first place. Not just as a
Yes.
human being, but as an artist, as a musician. Because it's music, again, music, politics, and culture is always intertwined with one another. So, hindi na
Yes.
natin maaalis yan. So, kung may makikita kayong mga musicians na magpo-promote ng kandidato nila, that's fine. You can still support the music, but kung ayaw nyo nung binoboto nila, then fine, huwag nyo iboto, di ba? You cannot just
Ayun yung
cancel.
stand nila, eh, 'di ba?
Oh,
Parang 'wag natin sisihin yung mga artist kung ayun yung stand nila.
yeah.
Kasi may sariling utak 'yan, eh. Kayo rin may sarili kayong utak. Kumbaga kung ano yung sa tingin niyong tama, 'di go ahead,
Pag sa
'di
tingin
ba?
yung hindi tama, di okay lang.
I'm sorry.
Kasi kaya
Joke
kaya
lang po.
kaya kaya nga merong kaya nga may tinatawag tayong candidates, hindi candidate. Kasi if it's just a candidate, then wala na tayong ibobotong iba, diba? There's always the winning side and then the losing side. So it's gonna be up to you kung nasaan ka doon, kung sino iboboto. Again, we're not gonna be voicing our own political
Mm.
agenda here kasi wala pa rin naman kami napipili. I mean, for me,
Kahit
I
eto,
don't I don't know
kahit
dito kay Eljo kung meron siya
kahit kami,
napili.
kahit kaming dalawa, nagtatalo rin kami
Oo,
about that.
oo.
Kasi may mga sarili-sarili kaming, ah, ideas, 'di ba? Mga decision,
Opinions,
opinions,
kumbaga.
'di ba? Nag-aaway kami pero magkaibigan pa rin kami. Kumbaga, eto lang 'yan, eh, nandun kami sa point na gusto namin mag-stand dun sa ano namin, sa politics insight namin, 'di ba? But siyempre 'wag natin idadamay yung relationship na meron.
Mm.
Kumbaga, that's why yung mga musician natin and kung iisipin niyo, sa music nila dinadaan yung opinion nila, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Kasi minsan kasi ayun yung better way to express yung opinions natin. Pero in some point, siyempre ayaw ayaw ng mga musicians na kumbaga, ma-hurt yung feelings ng iba. Kumbaga, it's not the same, eh. Kung about sa politics yung song na, it's about politics. Kung about sa love, 'di ba?
Mm.
Kumbaga, kaya nga meron tayong mga pinipiling songs, eh, 'di ba? 'Pag gusto natin umiyak palalo, ano yung pipiliin natin?
Makinig ka ng emo.
Where is the love? Hindi naman, eh, 'di ba? Kumbaga
Makinig ka ng
kumba
mga ano
'di
ba
ba
'yun?
ayun yung kumbaga ayun yung parang dapat maging mindset natin.
Mm.
Laging yung music may mga specific may mga specific, place or identity 'yan na eto para sa love lang 'to, eto para sa 'pag nada-down ako, eto for celebration. 'Di ba nga kaya nga merong law about national anthem, kasi hindi mo siya puwede kantahin kung saan-saan, eh,
Mm.
'di ba? So, ayun din 'yun. Kumbaga kung about sa politics lang. 'Wag natin sisihin yung artist na, "Ay Duterte ka, ay ano ka, Lenny ka," 'di ba? "Di na kita idol," 'di ba? 'Wag mo na rin kantahin yung mga sumikat nila, 'di ba? Kung
Mm.
ayun yung point of view mo, 'di ba? Pero it's not may freedom, lahat tayo may freedom tayo sa ating mga opinions. Hmm, and siyempre respect natin yung bawat isa, 'di
Yeah.
ba? Ang ang hirap naman nun ang hirap nun na tama yun, eh, magkakaiba tayo ng mga opinion, eh.
Pero hindi
Pero
dapat 'yun yung magiging
mm,
basis ng ano, ng friendship niyo, 'di
oo.
ba?
Pero tandaan natin na yung music din ang naging way para magkaisa tayo, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Kumbaga in Calamity, 'di ba? Ang daming song na lumabas, yung kay Michael Jordan na hindi, kay Michael
Yun.
Jackson, 'di ba?
Yung ano 'yun?
Oo. Ay, kay Michael Jackson ba 'yun? We Are the World.
We Are the World.
Hindi,
Hindi, various artists 'yun, various
various
artists.
artists pala. Sorry, sorry. Kasi yung boses niya yung umangat dun, eh. We are the world. 'Yun, 'di ba? Napakaraming yung sa Haiti, 'di ba?
Mm.
I I think same lang pala 'yun,
Oh,
pero
parang gano'n
ibang
din 'yun,
version.
eh, oo.
'Di ba? Meron talagang mga songs, tandaan natin, meron talagang mga songs na puwedeng magkawatak-watak tayo. Pero there ah, meron songs na ang reason na nagawa yun is para mag-unite tayo as one,
Yeah.
'di ba? I
That's why
think
it's kumbaga parang yun nga, eh, it's, music brings people together, and culture is the one, helping us to survive in this world. Kumbaga, without our culture and without our understanding of who we are as a person, medyo mahirap yon. That's why, di ba, yung term na we need to find ourselves every once in a while. Kumbaga, para makita natin who we are as a human being, as, kumbaga, kung father ka, as a son, as a brother, as a friend, and music
mm,
helps us unite if in case music helps us to unite with one another. That's why it's very important that we musicians, artists, express our opinion.
and eto add ko lang, parang I'm not sure kung it's a question, pero parang ang nangyayari kasi minsan 'di ba, parang yung mga songs kasi natin, even way before, for me nag-ano, parang nagkakaroon ako ng idea about the, the song na produce nung artist. For example, kung for politics siya, 'di ba? Nagkakaroon na ako ng idea, pero eto yung parang pinaka-question ko dun, is nagiging, um, anong tawag dito, parang way din ba ng kung anong era ka nabuhay. Kasi 'di ba parang ang nangyayari kasi, yung mindset natin, for me, yung mindset ko kasi 'pag naririnig ko yung mga songs, for example, yung songs na about dun sa peace or black and white, nakikita ko and I understand yung opinion ni Bob Marley, 'di ba, about that. Parang ang nangyayari kasi and napapansin ko na dahil ba sobrang millennials na yung panahon ngayon na hindi niyo maintindihan yung mga songs. Kasi ang nakikita ko, basta maganda yung groove, pasok na, 'di ba? Ay gano'n, "Ba't mo pinapakinggan 'yan? Ganda ng groove, eh." Naintindihan mo ba 'yan? "Hindi, maganda yung groove." 'Di ba parang gano'n lang yung nangyayari, 'di ba? In
I
some
mean,
point,
it's still open for not really open for debate, pero something na I think a generational thing.
mm,
Kumbaga, parang for us, sa
opinyon ko
generation
lang 'yun,
natin.
ikaw?
Oo. I mean, kasi sa atin kasi, in our generation, natuto tayo to the point na makinig dun sa music and the lyrics.
Yeah,
Kumbaga, um, like every time we perform, we make sure na yung mga lyrics natin is clean. Kumbaga, it provides positive outlook in life. Pero, at some point, we openly suggest to sing this song para lang ma-express din natin, para ba magets ng lahat yung pino-point out natin.
mm,
Kumbaga, ako, I don't really sing love songs. That's one thing. Siguro naman si Eljo alam naman yan. But for the benefit of our listeners, every time we perform, I don't sing love songs. I sing songs for broken-hearted people. Mga classic songs ko is for ganun din, yung mga nakakamiss sa someone special nila. Or, kumbaga parang more on the, kumbaga parang amplified type of music. Kumbaga, it's always, like for us, it's always about the lyrics and
mm,
not just the melody, because we always promote something that is based on our character. I mean, hindi naman tayo sad boy or anything para kantahin yun, but it's something that we like or I like to sing or to express my opinion and to express myself dun sa mga nakikinig din. Kumbaga parang, what do you mean by that? Kumbaga parang pag kinanta ko to, uy, naiintindihan niyo yung nararamdaman ko. Diba?
mm.
That's how I want it to be done. I think it's a generational thing. Why? Kasi the generation nowadays, especially with the Gen Z, is much more prone to the music itself, not just the lyrics. Kasi na ano na sila, namulat na sila dun sa panahon ng mga techno songs, mga disco
Mm.
songs, na it's more on the sound itself rather than the lyrics. Pero
And
I
mostly,
pero I
they
think
just
naman depende
agree.
naman 'yan eh. Iba-iba naman 'yan. May iba naman Gen Z na open sa lyrics kaysa dun sa melody mismo. Iba-iba rin
Pero
kasi.
mostly kasi saan nangyayari, 'di ba? Uh, They just agree dun sa lyrics. The
Oo.
more the more na pinapakinggan nila, the more na mas ine-express nila. Parang ang nangyayari kasi, 'di ba, opinionated naman almost lahat ng song, 'di
Mm.
ba? Parang ang nangyayari kasi, parang dahil paulit-ulit nilang pinapakinggan, dahil paulit-ulit nilang ginugusto yung song,
Mm.
na ano, kumbaga yung mindset nila eto na, 'di ba? Gano'n, gano'n yung ngayon, sorry kung
Sorry kung
bash kita.
matatamaan kayo.
Ervin Besana yung pangalan ko.
Bakit ako? Ba't pangalan ko, loko-loko ka?
Pero gano'n talaga. Ayun yung ako, ayun yung
Oo, siguro
napapansin.
yun nga yung sinasabi ko, eh. Yun yung sinasabi namin, kanya-kanyang opinion yan. It's
Mm,
always about your opinion over mine. I think siguro minsan we disagree on things or you disagree with your friend on things, but at the
mm,
end of the day, that disagreement should not be the way to end your relationship.
mm,
Kumbaga, we all have our different opinions. It's actually a good thing. It's very healthy that you and your friend has a different opinion on one another. Not really on the attitude of the other one, but on things like politics, like culture, like how the music nowadays is trashy,
mm,
and then how the music on of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s is much better. So,
mm.
kumbaga parang iba-iba yan eh. And it's always about respect.
Yes.
We can try and this we can always disagree on things, but we can try and understand where they're coming from. Kumbaga,
Yeah.
napakahabang third point nun, pero that's basically the gist of this episode is to try
Mm,
and respect others understanding and political views and
yeah.
making sure that we are being influenced in a way na alam natin na mas bagay sa atin.
Yeah.
Diba?
Kasi 'di ba dapat ano yun, eh, parang lumang sabi nga ng mga matatanda 'di ba, lumang tugtugin na yun, eh.
Oh,
Music and politics, so
ganoon na rin yun
sobrang
eh. Parang
ano na
lumang
yun,
tugtugin din yung music and
lumang-tugtugin na yun.
politics eh.
Kumbaga, ah, nasa sa atin na, eh, 'di ba? Yung kung ano yung opinyon natin na about about politics or what or kung gusto natin mas ma-enjoy yung culture natin, try to understand the lyrics. Kasi minsan minsan diyan ine-express nila yung love talaga nila sa country nila. Hindi basta
Mm.
dahil sinisiraan lang nila yung gobyerno. Minsan hindi gano'n, eh.
Mm. Except
Pakinggan
na lang
natin
kung punk artist ka talaga walang pakialam
mm,
sa sa politics kahit
oh,
sino pa umupo
kung
diyan.
metal ka talaga.
Or para kang si Lord De Vera na talagang ke-questionin ng lahat ng mga
Oo,
tumatakbo
'di ba?
regardless if he likes it or not. Like for
Mm,
us, we don't really, to be honest, we don't really care. Like we're still gonna be questioning if you have good intentions or not. Kasi it's our opinion. It's our freedom of speech. What we're
sariling
saying,
boto.
oh, and what we're saying is, regardless of whatever the objective is, kumbaga, we should still respect that person
Yeah.
and be mindful of what we're about to say. Again, very contradicting at some point, pero you'll get the gist of it. As a
Hindi kami
musician, as an artist, you need to be open about your opinion. Express it as much as you can.
actually hindi kami nag-usap about this. Kumbaga, siguro nag-share lang ng kung ano yung pag-uusapan.
Mm. That's how we do it. That's how we do the episodes
Yeah,
naman eh.
pero hindi namin sure kung mag-aaway kami ngayon o hindi, 'di
Oo.
ba? Kasi may mga sarili nga kami opinion. Pero ayun, ah, masaya kami na nailabas namin yung ano, 'di ba,
Kasi
yung
marami ring mga
opinyon namin.
nagre-request. Marami rin kasing, to be honest, marami rin nagtatanong na sino ba iboboto mo? 'Di ba?
Mm,
Kahit sino naman eh, sino boboto mo? Sino boboto mo? Sino boboto mo? Pabor ka ba dito? DDS ka pa rin ba? Mga ganun, 'di ba? Mga ganun mga question eh. Which is very irritating for me.
yeah.
Kasi ako naman kasi
Pag-usapan na natin lahat, 'wag lang yung politics.
oo. Kasi that's ano eh, that's a way of life eh.
Mm,
Kumbaga, regardless who I choose to vote, doesn't really matter. It should not matter to you. I
yeah.
mean, it will matter if mali yung boto ko and I will say sorry. Pero at this very early stage, it should not affect. My opinion should not affect yours. Kumbaga, we all have our different opinions. Kasi boboto mo kung sino, that's fine. I mean, it's very early to say kung sino iboboto mo. But a lot of people are already eyeing for Lenny. A lot of people are already eyeing for Bongbong. A lot of people are already eyeing for sino pa mga tatakbo, Isko Moreno, 'di ba? So a lot of
Pacquiao.
Oo, si Pacquiao, maraming iba-iba eh. Iba-ibang mga opinions eh. What we're saying is, just respect others' opinions. Especially sa mga artists na maglalabas ng mga opinions nila. I mean, the River Maya, Bullet Dumas, yan, mga medyo maaga maglabas yan. So, makakakita pa tayo sa parokya, sa kamikasi. Kung sino mga bandang available, sino boboto nila.
Yeah.
If they're gonna be promoting an artist or not, that's fine.
Si Lord de Vera baka mapagawa ulit ng kanta. Abangan
Oo,
natin.
abangan natin, di ba? O kaya, gawan nyo na naman ng episode yung mga tatakbo ng mga politiko or
Mm.
politika, which is, wala ka rin mapupulot kasi mapapaisip ka rin. Di ba? At the end of the day, pag nakinig ka or nanood ka ng isang episode ni Lord de Vera,
Pinahirapan mo lang sarili mo.
pinahirapan mo lang sarili mo kasi hindi ka niya bibigyan ng concrete answer eh. It's gonna be depending on you. Same thing with
Yeah.
us. We're not gonna give you any concrete answer. It's always gonna be depending on you. What we're saying is you should just respect the other person.
Yes.
Well, that is actually it for this episode. Music, politics, and culture. It's very sensitive to a point na we base it on our own opinions as well and how we understand music, politics, and culture. And paano natin, alam mo yun, parang paano natin gagawin to? Paano natin i-face tong darating na election and how we should be working or kumbaga ano ba dapat yung mararamdaman natin at the end.
Yeah.
Kasi marami kasi 'di ba maraming mga artist, maraming mga tao na pag DDS ka, pag Marcos apologist ka, hindi na kita kaibigan. Which is,
Babaugin ka talaga eh.
oo, parang walang sense. So, it should be about your own opinion.
Mm.
Diba? I'm not saying that we will vote for Marcos or for sino ba to, for Pacquiao or kung sino man. Kasi lahat naman may sariling opinion eh. Kumbaga, mas lalo ngayon with the social media age. Diba? Pag may naglabas ng opinion niya, lahat may marami ring basher. Naglabas ng opinion si Marcos, marami ring basher. Naglabas ng opinion si Pacquiao, maraming basher. Naglabas si Lenny, maraming basher. Maraming si Isko, naglabas ng opinion niya, marami ring basher, 'di ba? It doesn't make any sense, especially today.
Kung hindi natin i-respect yung mga lumalabas ngayon and kung hindi natin iintindihin, talagang magkakawatak-watak tayo eh.
Mm. And that is our culture, honestly. Yun nga yung nakakalungkot dun eh. Our
Oo.
culture is always about division. We're always divided with things.
Mm.
'Di ba?
Magkakaisa lang siguro tayo
Kaya nga
pagka
namatay si General Luna kasi ayaw ni
oh,
Emilio Aguinaldo ng paano siya magpalakad ng mga sundalo at ng Pilipinas at kung ano yung gusto niya maging vision ng Pilipinas.
mm,
That is our culture and we need to understand that what is happening right now is our culture. So talagang very normal. Very normal yan sa mga Pilipino.
relax pa yan.
Relax pa. Wala pa, hindi pa nagta-2022. Pag nag-2022 yan, tignan mo.
Yan, di ba?
Ang dami ng mga hindi magkakaibigan. mga mga situation. But with that being said, thank you so much guys for listening to our
Yes.
episode. It's very, kumbaga napakababaw pa lang nito. We don't really want to have a part 2 in this one. Ayaw na namin pag-usapan yung mga ganitong politics aside kasi it's very taboo. At the same time,
Yeah.
alam mo yun, we should be gearing towards music. And it's still in music, pero it's
Yup.
basically culture itself eh. So we need
Mm.
to gear towards music. We need to gear towards artists promoting artists. We're actually still waiting for the DOST research. I don't know
Yeah.
what happened. Kung may
Baka
nag
tinigil muna kasi siyempre election. Pag iba na upo, tapos,
tapos ng di ba? I don't know. 'Di
di
ba?
ba?
Yun yung mga nakakainis eh. Na
Oo.
mas nauuna pa yung mga ganitong situation kaysa promoting one another or
Siguro
promoting the
nagkakaisa
music.
kami about that is ang nangyayari kasi sa atin after uh, years ng isang president tapos hindi natapos yung isang law or kung ano man 'yan. Ang nangyayari kasi pag may bagong president, natatakpan, 'di ba?
Mm.
That's why parang kung iisipin niyo guys, ang dami ng musicians here in the Philippines na pinaglalaban talaga yung parang karapatan,
Mm.
'di ba, ng isang mga musikero. Kasi hindi lang kung iisipin niyo hindi naman basta-basta rin yung naging trabaho namin.
Oo.
Tama kayo na after ng pandemic talagang ubos kami, 'di
Mm.
ba? Ang daming nawalan, but most most of us survive. Talagang
And it's still
pinilit namin.
surviving
Yeah.
through music. I mean,
And
we have odd jobs,
mm,
medyo malayo sa music, but at the end of the day, after this pandemic, you will still see us and hear
mm,
us perform. And
yeah.
ano na nangyari after the pandemic? Or kung magkakaroon man ulit ng isa pang pandemic, di ba?
Hindi tuloy ang buhay namin. Gano'n pa rin, eh.
Oo.
Kumbaga ang nangyayari lang kasi do'n lang tayo nasisira, eh. Kumbaga yung mga laws na dapat mapatupad, yung mga things na dapat mangyari,
Dapat maging regular
nabibitin.
job na yung pagiging musician, di
Mm.
ba?
Tsaka ang nangyayari kasi nabibitin, 'di ba? For
Mm.
example, siguro yung sa DOST, I don't know, pero baka maipit
Mm.
because of the election. Kumbaga, it's sad for us kasi eto na naman, 'di ba? Hintay
Mm.
na naman ng ilang
Tayo na
taon
naman.
'yan,
Kasi
'di
di
ba?
naman siya literal na law, eh. It's like more of a research to support OPM.
Mm,
But it's a very critical research, not just for artists na malaki na, but for everyone in the industry. Even kami mga maliliit na mga musicians is really aiming towards that research. Kasi in that way, malalaman namin kung paano mo susuportahan ng Pinoy yung sarili niyang musika.
yeah. It's a big step kung
Mm.
tutuusin kasi 'pag nangyari 'yun, tuloy-tuloy na 'yan, eh.
Oo, magkakaroon na tayo ng change literal
Mm.
sa industriya. Hindi na siya
Maiipit
magiging
ulit.
frowned upon. Eh, mukhang naipit ulit. So, ganun pa rin. So,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry pa rin. But regardless, life goes on.
Yeah.
We can still do the things that we want to do.
Mm.
And at the same time,
Nandito yung podcast namin para
uh,
talagang tulungan yung mga Filipino artist natin. At
mm,
siyempre to promote our culture. Gustong-gusto namin itaguyod yung yung kultura ng Pilipinas sa musika, 'di
kaya
ba?
nga we're sa YouTube channel namin, we're trying to add kumbaga parang mga subtitles, 'di ba?
Mm.
Para if ever may mga listeners in the US that wants to understand what is
Mm.
the culture of music here in the Philippines, they will understand.
Mm.
Kasi we are up for promotion. Pinopromote namin kahit sino. Sa mga lalaking artist, kami pinopromote. Pero dun
Yeah.
sa mga artist na i-interview namin sa mga susunod, those are the ones that we're gonna be promoting.
Yeah.
Gonna be
Kaya
helping.
i-click niyo na yung aming Lazada link, 'di ba?
Yun, yung
Parang
pala. Buti
tulungan niyo kami.
naalala mo yun. Nakalimutan ko na.
Para
You can always check out our Lazada link. Here's
yes,
the thing. You are every month naman actually may mga sale ang Lazada Shopee.
yes.
So you can use that link, especially if you're in your phones right now. Punta lang kayo sa Facebook namin, check niyo sa mga post namin yung Lazada link, and then dediretso kayo sa Lazada.
Yes.
So, kung gangyari doon, kung yung percentage ng mga mabibili niyo, magkakaroon din kami ng percentage.
Yes.
And up to 15% ng mga ipurchase nyo. So, if in case may mga ipurchase kayo sa Lazada, don't hesitate to use our link. And then, ando naman lahat yun, diretso naman kayo sa Lazada. Wala yung kayo gagawa ng account, hindi na kayo gagawa ng ganun. Just click nyo lang yun, tapos parang nasa Lazada pa rin kayo. Ganun yung mangyayari.
Mm.
Well, with that being said, maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga nakinig. I don't know kung ano magiging opinion nyo about this episode. We still have to wait for a couple more days kung ano magiging opinion nyo. But regardless of what's gonna be your opinion or not, we will still respect that. If you hated this video or this episode, that's fine. If you like this episode, that's fine as well. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcast, and then sa YouTube, and then sa mga social media accounts namin, sa Facebook, sa Twitter, sa
Yes.
Instagram. We upload content every week. Masasabi ko ng every week kasi literal na every week kami naglalabas ng mga episodes.
Sipag ako eh.
Sipag magpaalala na kailangan ng episode. So, you can, and at the same time, maraming salamat din pala sa mga sponsors namin, Milk and
Yes.
My Tea by Jeff Aposaga.
Ikaw na Bahala by Joshua Ramos and Chicken House by James Manzanilla. And syempre yung sinusupport namin mga shirt, mga clothing line. Sa akin yung Safe Clothing by Ismael Ibarra.
Yes, and World in Progress by Prince Lupena. Congratulations,
Yes.
Prince. May bago silang lalabas na product, I think, and probably video. So medyo inaabangan na namin lahat yan. And maraming salamat din. By the way, we're almost malapit na tayong mag-isang taon. Actually,
Oo.
this October will be our first year anniversary. So isang
Yes.
taon na tayong nagpa-podcast at naglolokohan dito at naging opinionated sa mga
Isang taon nyo na
bagay-bagay.
kaming tinitiis. Wala pa rin kaming kita.
So ang mangyayari dyan, guys, just kumbaga parang sneak peek of what's gonna happen. We're gonna be doing a live Facebook session
Yeah.
on that week. Probably Saturday yon. Saturday, no? Gawin natin Saturday. Tapos, we're gonna be opening our Mind the Beats community sa Facebook.
Yes.
So, what is that community? It's a community wherein everyone can join and everyone can send in their opinions about things. And we're hoping na by lumabas tong pag naging available na tong community na to is yung mga musicians natin maging available and then they can join in the episode. So if in case ganito nangyayari, dalawa lang kami nagre-record, in the next coming weeks pag open ng community na yon, everyone in that community or on that page can join the show by just watching it as it is. Kumbaga, parang you don't need to wait for Spotify or YouTube or anything. Pwede nyo i-click yung link and then you can join in as a silent viewer with no camera, with no mic, and then kami lang magsasalita. And if you have like any opinions or stuff, you can chat it in the chat box para makita natin kung ano yung mga point nyo. Kumbaga, ganun yung magiging perks nun.
Yeah.
And kumbaga,
parang yung sa mga nasa radio station lang kayo. Di ba? Pag may nag-visit kayo sa mga gusto nyo, mga radio DJ, parang ganun lang.
Kumbaga, yun naman yung maganda doon kasi you will have an idea or a sneak peek kung ano yung episode natin even before namin i-upload sa Spotify. So, after the anniversary, lalabas yun. And then, yung isa pang episode na inabangan namin, which is yung K-pop, na lalabas after anniversary. We want to make sure na maka-isang taon muna kami bago namin irelabas yun kasi baka mamaya makancel na kami o kung ano ang mangyari sa buhay namin. So, we're all hoping and aiming na sana matanggap siya widely kasi pinag-aaralan namin siya sobrang tagal. Ako pinag-aaralan ko siya sobrang tagal. And Enjo as well. Para maging safe lang. Kasi we're dealing with K-pop here eh. So, kailangan natin maging safe.
Hindi siya basta-basta.
Kailangan maging safe. Kailangan maging sigurado tayo sa sasabihin natin. Well, if that's the case, again, follow us on our social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us on Spotify. Alam ko meron na atang mga poll questions sa Spotify, so pwede na yun. So probably gagamitin natin yun next time.
Yes.
Sa Anchor, sa Google Podcast, sa YouTube as well, you can subscribe. And with that being said, my name's Irvin.
And I'm Eljo.
And by the way, don't forget to register to vote. Every vote counts. And you're listening to the #1 music podcast in the country. This is Mind the Beats. Bye.
Peace out.